I came to a conclusion to realize this here is that they're going to continue to keep on perpetuating uh, white supremacy. They're going to continue to keep on perpetuating white supremacy. That's their whole ego in order to be able to, every time we in our own community continue to like hate each other, we separated, being divided. This is like to inflict their ego. Yeah, this is the thing is uh, perpetuate their ego is to continue to benefit off of all of this stuff. Just like we live in this neighborhood over here now, like we live around in here in the neighborhood, and we live in these different type of neighborhood, and we don't live in the neighborhood with all other different other types of nations and stuff like that. You have to understand there's a reason for that. There's a reason for all of that. There's a reason. Trust me. Don't get it twisted. There's a reason for that. And we are not realizing that they're using the gospel. They're using the false gospel. We don't even really know what that is. Um, they're using anything that you can think of that perpetuate Esau and their kingdom, white supremacy, and all those different things. Anything that you see that involves any of that type of stuff, to let you know is that we're still living in that time, because we don't really have the the older generation no more. No, we don't have the older generation no more at all. We don't. We just don't have it. It feels good too. The older generation that okay, well, what I'm gonna do? Okay, testing it. Okay, yeah. So it's like all these different things that goes on. We're constantly perpetuating white supremacy in every single way that's possible. We're divided. Now, when I say divided, that don't mean as a so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people, which are the real Jews according to the Bible. We are, man. And the children to the older generation today, instead of correcting situations and correcting things, they're actually trying to be friends with their grandkids and with their children and stuff. They don't care about trying to correct certain behaviors or try to just call it out. Because today, if you call out something in your child's life or in the African American in our community, then it's gonna be considered you abusing the child or something. That's the new thing now. It's gonna be you abusing the child. You don't care about this person. They mistake discipline for hatred, and they mistake neglect for love, or doing all these. When they think of love, they think of giving them hugs and kisses and uh, doing all these great things. No, love, real true love is discipline. It is. Real true love is discipline, bro. But we don't live in that type of community. Okay, I was trying to type in music, the reason why I was doing that. But we don't have the older generation no more. We really don't. We don't at all. We just don't have the older generation. We trying to be the children friend. We trying to be everybody's friend and stuff, you know? All right, man, how you doing? All right, man. Yeah, man. We trying to be people. We trying to be their friend. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we take discipline and we mistake you discipline your child. We if you discipline, people gonna look around and call it hate because we don't listen to all of that. Remember now, all of that. It like they'll say things like child abuse, right? Child abuse, child abuse. If you discipline your child in the right way, you see what I'm saying? All of that type of stuff is to inflict their ego, is to continue to uh if whatever that they've been doing is to succeed and make money off of our people in any way that they can, they inflict that or show or do that. You know what I'm saying? Or push that thing out in the world is to continue. All those things is based upon white supremacy because you cannot you in this day and age you can't discipline your child now. You can't do it. You just can't. Yeah, you can't discipline your child now. You can't do none of that. You just can't. Um, According to their laws, you can't do it. You see what I'm saying? And it's just sad, man, how we the type of society that we live in. It's amazing how they can tell you, forget about your culture. We want you to adopt to the customs of our ways, you know? That's how it is. So that's all I want to say for right now. But man, I'm telling you, man, this is what the stuff that they pushing, man. We don't have righteous people. We don't have we don't have this in our community is what I'm trying to say. We don't have the older generation because they have been conditioned, their nationality been beat out of them and stuff doing slavery, and it affected them in a way to where they got to be nice to the children. They got to be nice to the community. They can't if they see a flaw in somebody, they scared. They say, "Oh, don't call it out." You know what I mean? It's like basically they're saying you can't call it out now. You can't do that. Why? Because they're listening to Esau tell them these things. And all of those things, it just help pushes the perpetuate and agenda of white supremacy. That's all it's doing. I'm gonna tell the truth. You know, so you can't. We got to come back to our customs, embrace what we used to be, the connection that we had. You know, just like back then. then there wasn't no such thing as going to the store buying bottles of water and all that type of stuff. We know that's not original. For us, that's not original because during the time of the original, you was going and you was getting water at the grandma's well, grandpa's well. You go down the street and you get water down there, and you pump water and get as much water as you want in a bucket and tote it back down the streets. You know what I'm saying? You have your brothers and sisters and things. Y'all walk together and they tell you to go get some water. bring some jugs of water and stuff. You should go down and pump water. You know what I'm saying? That's not, we're not living in that original time. We're living in this toxic modern day society, where the toxic modern day society is you can't tell your children what to do. You can't do this and you can't do it. Why? Because Esau, the so-called white man, done told you that you can't do it. But the Bible tells you something totally different. The Bible tells you, things like, uh, that's in Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. When he's old, he will not depart from it. This and that. You hear things like that. Like you go and it'll tell you, withhold not correction from the child. Things like that. Don't withhold correction from the child. But this society is telling you it's child abuse. So you can't do, it's crazy how who you are. The Bible says in Acts chapter 5 and verse 29, it said we ought to obey God rather than man. But people doing that, no. They're occupied with the things of this world. We don't have the correction from the older. They get mad now if you tell their children anything. They say, excuse me, you're doing something wrong. I don't want you to cut your hand. I don't want you to do this. And your parents know, or your so-and-so know that we don't have that no more, because the children nowadays, the community in the African-American community, Hispanic, Blacks, and Native American community can go back and lie to their parents, and the parents gonna be on their side. They're not gonna, if you see something in the community like throwing rocks, you can't do this, and you can't discipline. But I remember when we was young, when we went to the schools and stuff like that, man, them teachers and things, man, they was allowed. It wasn't no such thing as you coming home and talking about the teacher did this to me, and the parents being back then, they'll be like, what did you do? What happened? But nowadays, man, it ain't like that no more, Like, what did you do? They're like, you don't do that. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go over and tell your parents. And then sometimes they'll be like, okay, get your hands off of that. Or either they'll discipline you themselves. And then when they got home, then you got discipline again, if you know what I'm talking about. But we don't live in that type of community no more. No, we don't live in that type of environment no more, in that community. No, we just don't. Yeah, we don't live in that type of environment no more. Mm-mm. And I'm gonna see y'all later, man. And we'll talk a little bit later, bro.